Hey, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
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 I like mine better.
From the historic Y7 Depot, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
And hello, everybody. Can you hear us? Ken, how are you? Ken's got to unmute.
I thought you automatically unmuted me. I apologize for that.
I tried. I think I automatically muted you. Maybe that was it.
Well, I'm doing fine on a Wednesday night, and I'm glad to see a number of people found us after our change of venue. We have a unfortunate circumstance. Tom's going to go back to driving heavy equipment, so that means we've got to change this to Wednesday night for a while. but it'll still be a lot of fun, and we'll still do lots of fun things. So
And we'll keep you updated, and we're bringing you lots of layouts, hopefully some clinics. We'll be talking about all of our meetings, operators retreat, the modelers retreat, and there's even more coming up. I'm sure we'd like to do some more of those modeler skills day. If anybody took part in that, raise your hand, put your little hand over there in chat. That was an excellent day. I'd like to thank Damien for arranging the space, and Ken and everybody who organized that, the Kens.
yep. Yeah, that'd be great. And Ken said, boy, we should do more. And I said, yeah, go for it, big guy. So
Yeah, yeah, we can do more. I mean, there's lots of clinics. We have lots of people voting on things. We can even get more in depth than what we did with the
right.
scenery and weathering. There's no end of that, obviously.
And we have some really talented people that are willing to step up and help. Uh, you know, it's just great. So
Yeah.
whatever we can do to help the modelers have more fun, that's what it's about.
All right. And we got a great program today. We're going to bring on the other Ken in a bit, and he allowed us to go railfanning in the hills of North Carolina. And we're going to show you the videos there. But first, I think we're going to talk about some upcoming events here.
Right.
So,
Here's a couple big ones that we always enjoy. December 2nd, the North Metro Model Railroad Club. So if you have not got your Christmas shopping done for yourself, that's a great place to go. It's a $5 admission fee, and it also gets you a free entry into the North Metro Model Railroad Club. So you go after you enjoy all the time walking around and spending all your money. You can go down there and see the club, because it's really it's marvelous the progress they're making on it. And then if you really want to treat yourself, go upstairs to Rosa's Cafe, and that's a marvelous Chinese restaurant. We've been known to gather up there at the end of the operating session, and it's really a lot of fun. So that'll
yeah,
make a full day. Ask for the donuts. Those are great,
yeah,
fresh.
the donuts are a must. The
Yep.
donuts are a must. So, so we have those events, and we got some more here going in January.
Yes. Tri-State Rail Sail down in La Crosse. That's not a bad drive down beautiful Highway 61, and a great train show. Then January 13th, the Newport Club. They do a couple a year, and this is their second one. Typically, they have their club room open after the show, so that's a lot of fun. It's really a fun club to visit, whether you like to operate or just run trains or just help out. And of course, they're right across from the CPBN main line coming south, so you can do lots of train watching down there. So that's good time.
That is a good time. It's a wonderful club. We have four wonderful clubs in the cities here.
We do,
And
we do.
as Colin noted, the North Metro Model Railroad Club has a deal with the Twin Cities Division where we're allowed to come operate. So if you
Yes.
are a member, if you're watching this on the replay and you're not a member, join, and we can get you into operating sessions on that 5,000 square foot layout.
Yes,
And we have jobs for 30 people. I mean, it was a lot of fun last time we went.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
The only problem we had was a dispatcher that got a little cranky, but you
yeah.
know, what are you gonna
He
do
was
with
a
that?
poor guesser who liked to delay trains. So
Yeah, yeah. Here's another great one that's 4 hours away, and that's not too far. But the Madison Train Show, that's really a great one for the Upper Midwest, February 17th and 18th. Uh, go down there, spend the day, uh, have a really a great time. There's a website that tells you more about it. 29 layouts, 51 vendors, and a whole bunch of fun. So put
right,
that one on your calendars.
that's our brothers to the east, the South Central Division, wonderful division. They
Yep.
do great things. This show has gone on for many years. it fills up that whole auditorium. So let's get to some of our stuff, Ken.
Right.
Here we go.
So we changed the December 9th meeting to Devani's Pizza in Eden Prairie. It turns out that a lot of our members were looking for food, especially if they're going to bring spouses and guests along. Uh, Prizes, gift certificates to be given away. It's going to be just a whole bunch of fun, an opportunity to come bring some friends. Bring some friends. We're going to be there and setting up about 12:30 to 1 o'clock. So you're there. You're welcome there anytime after one. Uh, there'll be some special food specials that the division will be putting out also. So it's just going to be a great time to sit down, chit chat, meet other people in the division, uh, compare your Christmas lists. It's going to be a great time. Just send your info at TCD NMRA and say I want RSVP. I've already gotten two of them in, and the notice just went out today. So good time. In fact, one of the guys said he's hosting an op session in the morning, and I said, well, when the op session's over, you normally sit down and have a little bite to eat anyway. Come on over and join us at the Vondi's. So
Yeah,
it'll be
get a
fun.
hoagie and a pizza slice. And the guy who made the slides here put in the wrong slides. We're actually going 12:30 to 5.
Yep.
And Dan Dosa has got gifts and presents for everyone who attends, and they're all scale gifts. So it's something that can apply to all of us as modelers. And he's got some fun holiday games uh, involving those gifts. He's
Sure.
also asking, if you saw on our Facebook page, if you want to donate to the Toys for Tots, bring a new unwrapped toy, and we can donate that for you in the name of the TCD.
Right.
We'll put some more things in there.
Yeah, and you
Use the
mentioned,
subway to Madison.
yeah, you
Yeah, I
can.
think Madison has a subway, but a sandwich shop.
Yeah, if you recall Dan and door prizes, Dan is going to get a lump of coal for his door prize.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We're planning that. We're planning that good day. So
Yep.
here we got coming up the next year. Our highlight.
Yep. January 11th and February 8th are both going to be Zoom specials. We're working on a special location that we can do the January 11th one where we can have people in person and Zoom. If that works out, we'll do the same thing for the 8th. But the great part is you don't have to worry about. Uh, I'm sorry, I must ate and I got sleepy. But if you don't have to worry about driving in this ugly Minnesota weather, and it can get bad up here, and so you can put on your pajamas and your slippers, get yourself a cup of hot chocolate, and join us via Zoom. Then in February is our operators retreat. In March is our annual modelers retreat, and that event will be at the same location it's been the last 5 years. And April are layout tours. We'll have that on two separate weekends. May 16th to 20th is the Thousand Lakes Regional Convention in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And I was talking to an NMRA dignitary who believes that he is going to be in Boston the week before, and so he's planning on stopping in Eau Claire. So can't tell you who that is, but we will put
Oh,
in
nice.
a warning to all the breweries in the neighborhood to make sure they
Very good.
stock up. Yep.
Very good.
August is the NMRA National, and that's the Surfliner 2024 in Long Beach. So that's always a great time if you can make it out there.
I know Diana and I are going, so that should be a lot of fun. That's going to be our summer trip to Southern California and maybe see some model rarities. So
Good. So here's a great picture from our last operators retreat, and it's a terrific opportunity if you're not real uh, if you're not real experienced as an operator, sign up. If you just don't know a lot of other a lot of layouts around here, sign up. If you just want to see new layouts that you've not seen before, sign up. And if you don't fit any of those other things but want to operate, sign up anyway because we have lots and lots of layouts that we can operate, lots of layout owners that are happy to have TCD members come visit. So plan on that, and you'll see signups will start the 1st of January. All the details will be there, including the layouts. Uh, you're certainly welcome to uh, send in your request for a specific layout with a couple of $20 bills pinned to it to Greg Dahl, and then he'll probably not be swayed by it. I think his ethics are impeccable, but
They
a couple
are.
of twenty,
They are. He's
but a
very,
couple of
very
twenty
impartial.
dollars, yeah, a couple
Yeah.
$20 wouldn't hurt. So that's
Yeah.
going to
He
be a
has
great
said
time.
it. Yeah. He has said $20 is $20, people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Um, but yeah, we have more layouts than we have operators. Okay,
Right.
so don't feel that, oh, I'm going to be the last guy. We will open up more layouts. The layout
Yes.
owners have been very gracious after last year's wonderful event. They're like, oh, I want to host that, and it's open to a lot of things. So you don't have to go and have a throttle and run a train from A to Z. If you want to
Yep.
learn how to work a yard, you want to learn how to dispatch, you want to learn about the car cards, or you say, hey, I've operated before but I've never done like switch lists. We'll find a layout where you can work off the switch list and try. So maybe that's what you want on your layout. So if you're curious about what operating scheme you're going to apply, I see Heath is in here, John Whithouse, hello guys, and you're looking to what you want for an operating scheme. This would be a great chance to find a
Absolutely.
layout that features, you know, something like that. Like Ken's got an amazing, Ken Zeski here has, I don't know what you call it, active staging yard, where,
Yep.
yeah, the customer says, I need this, and you're in the yard, you have to find the cars instead of just being dictated to you what car. So think of it that way too. You know.
Right. And one of the things that, and you'll see Ken Borowski's layout after this, he has a marvelous dispatcher position, and it's not intimidating, but it's a huge amount of fun, and you can sit there with a coach if you like, and let's say you're interested in earning your dispatcher certificate. Well, there's an opportunity for you to get some quality hours as a dispatcher on a great layout. So
Right.
yeah, look for
Yeah,
the sign up February 1st and join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
that's a lot of fun. And of course, our showpiece, the Modelers Retreat, will be at
Yep.
the same location. Joe Binish has now taken over everything, so send all complaints to Joe. But
Yep.
get your models ready. You know,
So so Friday night we'll be doing setup and a lot of socializing. We're going to have it used to be called a slideshow. I don't know what you call it now, but it's sort of like a slideshow, only we're not going to use slides. And then Saturday, there'll be 8 clinics. They run two at a time. And then there'll be a full uh, room full of great models to look at. And the nice part is you can sit down and socialize with people that have brought the models in, ask them how they did it because they're always happy to share ideas. Give them your ideas because I'm sure that they're still looking for more ideas, more things to try. Uh, we're going to we always do a little bit of hands-on stuff, so you'll get a chance to do some things there too. It's going to be a full day. So
yeah, mark that on the calendar. That's a don't miss event.
it
People
is.
come from other states and all over here, so um, that is the one. Hope to see some fun models. See what Elko's John Woodhouse is going to bring if he can challenge mine. So that was kind of fun little the
There
Elko
you
stuff
go.
here.
Yep.
Our annual convention. We have dates and costs.
Yes. This is going to be a great weekend. And it's actually a long weekend. And if you notice that the cost is $35 for the full 4 days, and the hotel is giving us a special rate of $85 a night for TLR guests. It's got a beautiful little restaurant on site. Um, During the convention, we're going to have speeder rides on the former Milwaukee line, and that's got to be limited to 70 people. So I encourage you to sign up early and send your reservation in. I think it's going to be $15 for the speeder ride, and that will include luxury buses back and forth and a great speeder ride. Next day, we're going to go to the Carson Park and do a train ride behind live steam. The Sawdust City Logging Museum is open. There's clinics open, layout tours, celebration rooms, banquet and awards night, the lucky ticket raffle, and that's just what we have so far. The convention committee is really working full time to get more and more activities. So this is going to be a full day of things to do. I think that when I mentioned this to somebody about this thing being in Eau Claire, the first thing they did was look up the sites of Eau Claire, and they were just amazed at all the neat things that there are to do. So
Yes, it's a big city. It's probably the largest city in western Wisconsin. The convention crew, Dave and Bonnie Menard, are just putting on a fabulous itinerary. Pat Tony's in there. Wonderful organizers. Pat Tony and I, when I lived in Eau Claire, we used to run Sawdust City Days and things like that. So everything's going to go smooth. We're going to see if we can get Menards, who's into trains. Dave Menard's brother, John Menards, might be there too. And but we're gonna have a good convention. The hotel is beautiful. It's easy to get to right off Highway 29, and you're in the middle of Chippewa Falls and Eau Claire. Kugel's beers over there, wonderful tours, all kinds of things like that. So I suggest everyone go there. And then make sure you check out our friends at Scale Models. And I also wanted to mention our friends at Hub. If you come to our holiday party, there will be hobby gift certificates available. So support our local hobby shops and keep them in business.
there you go.
So, here we go. There we go. I'm looking at Heath here. Can't imagine dispatcher's chair. Well, you're going to talk to Ken Borowski, and I'll probably bring up a picture of a dispatcher. On Ken's layout, if you're a first-time dispatcher, it is the perfect place to try it. Because we'll have a guide with you or somebody mentoring you, and the activity is paced right, where you can make decisions, and the layout's built so well that you can get out of, if you have issues, you can get out of them. And that's why, from the Twin Cities standpoint, if anybody in the Twin Cities is worried about being a dispatcher, Mr. Borowski's layout is perfect place to start with. So,
I dispatched there, Tom, and about 2/3 through the operation, I really got the swing of it, and by that I mean the power, the absolute power.
yeah.
And hi, this is train 97. I'm going here, and I need to go there. Okay, go there and go into the siding and die there.
Your favorite word is the dispatchers. Clear main track side. So, well, let's bring Mr. Borowski up because I see all the questions are coming up here. Hello,
yeah, we're
Ken.
still picking up the pieces from that session, but we still did okay. Ken.
Yeah. That's when you found the cars in the mountain, right? That's what Ken's dispatching session.
So how you guys doing? Good evening.
We are well. This is Ken Borowski. We're gonna Railfan his in-scale Blue Ridge division. If you wanna set the scene for us, because we're at Kona, right, North Carolina.
Yeah, well, just in case people aren't familiar with the Clinchfield Railroad, it was basically a coal hauler on mainly through five states, but the area that I model is the western part of North Carolina. And coal loads move south and empties move north. And think about the Clinchfield was they were a true bridge route in every sense. So I chose to model the south end of the Clinchfield, which has a lot of merchandise traffic and local trains, along with the coal traffic, which all move south. The north end of the railroad is where all the coal tipples and mines were. So I don't model the north end, I model the south end. So just so people know, when they see merchandise trains and locals and stuff, that's that's because there's a lot of that on the south end of the railroad. But yeah, so I got a call from Tom. He said, "Hey, let's go Railfan to Clinchfield." So I said, "Okay, well, let's meet up. We'll go up to Loafer's Glory. We'll have lunch over at Bonnie and Clyde's, and we'll go down and stop at the depot there, and we'll check in at the depot and see what the lineup is." And then I thought, well, we better get a couple guys to run some trains if we're going to Railfan. So I sent out a word to a couple seasoned veterans that wanted to come run trains, and they couldn't make it. So we got stuck with Joe Binish and Greg Dahl.
Yeah.
So they were the guys running the trains for us, and they did a wonderful job, of course, because they're great operators. But yeah, so this video is basically us hanging out at Kona, which is not the easiest place in the world to get to. There's the long way to get there and the longer way to get there. So we
What
took
year
the
are we
long
in?
way. We're in
What
the
year?
early 70s, like 73, 75. So you're going to see
Okay.
all sorts of different types of locomotives, because in that time frame you had anything that was ready to go, they just hooked them together and ran them on a train. So you didn't have all these same types of engines pulling trains and stuff. It was just a real mishmash of stuff. And
At this time, you'll have to see what they had F units and SD 45-2 at the same
right.
time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a little bit of everything. Do we want to answer
We can do the
questions?
questions after if you want
Okay.
to save that.
Yeah,
We
I
can
mean,
do that
whatever you want to do.
Through the video, he's got a good question. Please put up questions for Mr. Borowski through the video, and then if we can, we'll come back to some photos of his beautiful layout.
Yeah, one
that
thing
sounds
too
good.
for the video, I think you might want to go to a full screen on your computer
Oh,
if you
that's
want to
right.
watch the video when that comes up. It might be a
I
little
would,
better view.
I would say go to your full screen now, and I will put this up here. And start this now. All right, what do you guys think? 'Cause we're fighting for the mute button here. So
Well, there you go. It was a fun day down at Kona.
It was.
It was. Thanks to Joe and Greg for running all those trains.
Yeah, it was a fun time doing the
So,
filming
you
and
talked
stuff.
Loafer's Glory.
Yeah, that's up by Tokane, which is the town just ahead of Kona. It's I mean, all the roads up there are just 2-lane back roads and stuff, and it's a little sandwich place up there, which is a good spot to stop. So if anybody's ever down there, you want to stop there and go on down to Tokane and just wander around.
If we mention your name, is that good?
I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to answer some questions from people. Somebody asked, okay, how long? I had my first op session with no scenery on the layout back in 2001. So it's been just about 22 years. It's been operational, but obviously way back when there was no scenery on it. And it's kind of evolved over the years too. It started off in one room and now it takes up 3 rooms. So, but the general size of it is about 13 by 33 feet in the main layout space where you're going to basically run. Yeah. The main space on the right is about 13 by 33. And the area along the right side is double decked. All along that wall on the right is double decked. And then when you go into the room to the left, kind of where that map is, that's where the staging yards are over there. And that's 10 by 14, I believe. So staging is in a separate room over there, which is nice because you have a lot of room to work over there. And then everything comes onto the stage in the other 2 rooms there. The bridge route, the Clinchfield was one of the few railroads that actually went through the mountains instead of around them. So a lot of railroads saw that was a pretty good thing because they cut a lot of travel time off their shipments. So the L&N and the C&O interchange on the north end. And at the south end of the railroad, you had the Seaboard Coastline and the southern at the down at Spartanburg and Bostic. And then there's a couple other points throughout the railroad. At Marion, you interchange with the southern, and of course at Kona, which is what we were just at with the Yancey Railroad. And then up at St. Paul, Virginia, you got to interchange with the Norfolk and Western and the L&N. And then up in Elkhorn City, Kentucky, that was where the C&O interchanged. So a lot of through merchandise traffic, and then still had a lot of coal traffic from the L&N and the C&O that also went south over the Clinchfield. So like I said earlier, I don't model all the coal fields and stuff, but I still model the coal trains. They're all through trains on my part of the railroad. The loads is all real coal that I scooped up from a wreck site down there on one of my trips, and I just sifted it out and pretty much glued it into the hoppers, because the way my staging yards work, I can just restage the coal train, so I don't need to remove the loads on the coal cars. It's all the other merchandise cars where I have to swap loads, like out of Gons and things like that. But the coal trains, they just get restaged as a whole unit train. All of my couplers are truck mounted. So you have to be careful. I mean, I've got a lot of curves and grades on my layout, so we don't do a whole lot of pushing on the back, necessarily. It's more as another job for crew members. But, down the road here, I'm possibly looking at putting body mounted couplers on them just to make it more of a pushing necessity, and I could weight the cars down more to make it more of a need than how it is now, just an extra job to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of N scalers in here. Colin and Heath, N scale layouts and things like that. Colin has a question here. I think this applies to Ken. So,
my dispatchers.
You had radios, didn't you?
Yeah, I used radios for 15, 18 years, and they worked fine. But over time, it's like, I can't hear you, and you're on the wrong channel. Oh, I got static. Oh, my battery's dead. Or the guy keeps on turning the radio off accidentally with his shirt or something like that. And then I was reading a magazine, and there was an article, and it said in like 1976, they were still using the phone systems along the Clinchfield because they couldn't talk to the dispatcher with the radios. So like, well, that's a perfect opportunity because that's right in my time frame there. So I thought, well, I'm going to try the phones. It wasn't a big expense, and everybody seems to like them, and it's a lot quieter in the room because you're not listening to everybody else's conversations, and it seems to work good. And on my layout, the dispatcher is actually upstairs on a different floor of the house. So the dispatcher isn't sitting in the layout room where you can hear everything going on anyways. You actually have to call him to find out what you got to do or where you got to go. And I usually put them near the kitchen so they can scoot away from the dispatcher's panel and get some treats and stuff up there while they're up there. So that's kind of a bonus if you ever want to do that. That's kind of how to lure people to the dispatcher job, even though that's actually a really nice job because it really explains the layout. A lot of people that are new to the layout kind of get overwhelmed when they see the whole layout room because there's a lot of curves and tunnels, and it's like, boy, I don't know where nothing goes. But when you sit down at a dispatcher's panel with a single track main line and 4 passing sidings on a schematic, it really explains everything really, really simple. So it's actually a pretty easy job, at least on my railroad it is to do. So I always encourage people to do that because it really explains the whole concept of the layout. Well, actually, none of the trains actually need the helpers. I mean, I just use them as an extra job if we have, enough people to fill all the spots. So I don't really need them with the amount of trains that I run because I mean I can run 44, 50 car trains if I want, but they're too long for the layout and it just overwhelms the sidings and stuff. I mean, occasionally we kind of do it if you want to just have some fun with the guys, but most of my trains are in the 22, 24 car range because those will fit in all the sidings. That's the shortest passing siding, so that's usually the length of train that I start out with. Now, there's a couple of the trains that make some pickups and start-offs along the way, so they could get longer than that. So in a case like that, the dispatcher has to kind of look at the lengths of the sidings, but all the coal trains would, fit in all the sidings with the standard length that I run them.
Track cleaning.
Actually, everybody talks about cleaning track. I don't think it's all that big of a deal. I just walk around with some mineral spirits, the day before I'm going to operate or something, and just do a quick wipe around the layout on the main line. And then I've got one of these. I got it through Micromark, but it's on this long stick with this little, almost a bright boy on the end of it, a round bright boy that I can get like into some of the tunnels and stuff, and I'll just do the locals, right before the session. So I usually clean, whenever I'm going to have an op session. But if I'm just down to running and stuff, I don't clean anything. It takes about 20 minutes maybe to do the whole layout. It's not a big job.
What do you use to clean it with?
I use mineral spirits, odorless mineral spirits.
Okay.
Yeah, because it evaporates right away too. So you're not putting like a watery liquid on your rails. It's going to evaporate right away after you clean it. Seems to work pretty good. I haven't had any problems with it. I've been using it for probably 3 years now.
Did we answer the pusher one? There we go.
Yeah,
Cool.
I got that one. My tunnels too. I've got numerous tunnels, and most of the tunnels you can get access from underneath the layout. But there's 2 tunnels where you have to actually lift the tops off. So I usually try to tell operators if you think you got something off the track or whatever, try not to drag it into the tunnel because it's just harder to fix something if something happens in the tunnel. So it's usually.
So why the Clinchfield? You're from Chicago and living up here in Minnesota. Why the?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think if it was the late 80s or the early 90s. For whatever reason, there was a whole bunch of articles that were coming out in Model Railroader about the Clinchfield and Railroad Model Craftsman at the time. And it kind of just stuck in my mind where, it was a kind of a neat looking railroad with the dirty work weathered locomotives and just, trees everywhere. And the tracks follow the river pretty much almost the whole way. And there isn't a straight piece of track on the whole railroad. It's all curved track and lots of tunnels and lots of bridges. So it was just very scenic. And like you said, I'm from Chicago and I grew up you know, chasing Milwaukee Road trains around all the time. So it's like, hey, I want to model the Milwaukee Road. And then you look at it and you look at your basement, and it's like everything's a straight line. So at some point, that's not going to work good in a basement. So then I got doing more research about the Clinchfield, and it's a perfect railroad to be in a basement because it's all tunnels and curves, and the tunnels help hide the track, and it makes the layout seem even bigger than it is, and the scenery is beautiful, and it's got a little bit of everything. It's got, you know, through trains, merchandise trains, locals, unit trains. It's got a little bit of everything. So you know, in my opinion, it was a perfect fit for something to build in a basement. So.
Can you tell us too about your modular? You're doing the Clinchfield in 3 different eras.
Yeah, I've got, well, I belong to a couple other clubs and scale clubs. So obviously I've got the home layout, and I use micro engineering code 55 track for most of it. My staging yards, I use Atlas because at the time when I started building it, micro engineering was the only one that made code 55 N scale track. So that's pretty much what you had to use, you know, back in the day. And then, you know, Atlas came out, so I use that. I'm part of a Fremo N scale group. So I've got a couple of Fremo modules that I model Union Mills, North Carolina, and I built a wood chip loader based on a prototype because I've been down there numerous times, took a lot of pictures of it. So I have that on my Fremo N scale layout. And I also have some N track modules, N track and 1 track modules. And on those, I model Marion, North Carolina, which I also model on my home layout. But that's my 1 track modules. And then my N track modules, I just have a generic junction and interchange. So whenever shows come around or people are looking for people to be in the show, it's like, okay, what type of layout are you doing? So I've got a lot of different options for local train shows, or if I travel somewhere, I can bring a bunch of different stuff. The layout, my home layout, is between like 74, 76-ish, kind of in that era. My Fremo modules, those are after CSX took over. Well, actually, those are more family lines era. So I got a little bit newer stuff like late 70s, early 80s for that. And I also run some CSX on that as well. So I try and keep all that stuff separate, so I'm not taking things on and off the layout. It all kind of stays, you know, train show stuff stays separate than home layout stuff. I picked the era because well, you got a lot of mix of stuff. In the 70s, it was like Thunderdome. You had like all sorts of different styles of engines. You had, you know, stuff with roof walk, stuff without roof walk, stuff that looked like it had roof walk, stuff that they got taken off of. You had a little bit of everything. So it was kind of a nice mix of stuff in that era.
Yeah. So you have a Burlington Northern boxcar. So he's asked about Big Sky Blue. You could have a Big Sky Blue car because the BN merger was, what, 71? So
I could, but I don't. Yeah. yeah. There's a phone number you can call for the Big Sky Blue if you want to go the Big Sky Blue route. I mean, I operate whenever well, I'm in an ops group here in town, so there's always ops going on. So you just talk to different people. Hey, when do you want to get together again? And everybody's got different schedules. You got, you know, the working people, so you have to do it either, you know, evenings or on the weekends, and you got the retired people. They can do it anytime during the week. So it all depends, whatever works out for, you know, whatever group you want to get over. But usually it's about every probably six weeks or so, probably at my house. And I belong to a couple of N scale clubs too. So sometimes when I host a meeting, you know, we'll do an op session after the meeting. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a number we were going to call.
Oh, yeah. Big Sky Blue, 1960. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
go ahead.
Well, because when I first picked the Clinchfield, I was going to do the north end just because everybody that models the Clinchfield models the north end because it's all the coal tipples and all that stuff, which is a neat operation. But I knew so many people that modeled it because I would always make annual trips down south and meet up with all these guys, and we spend a week running around the mountains and operate on all these guys' layouts. So I kind of wanted to do something that everybody else wasn't doing, and I was doing more and more research about the south end, and it just had such a mix of traffic. Every car wasn't a coal car, so you got to switch out locals and stuff and do different industries, and then you got the loops, which is just a beautiful area to go to. It's on the south side of the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's all sorts of just spectacular scenery, and there's 5 loops that come down, 5 big horseshoe curves that come down on the south side of the Blue Ridge Mountains, where it's like 4 miles or 5 miles as the crow flies, but it's about 12 miles by track. So, and there's a couple sections where the train goes by on the upper part of the track, and you can walk down 100 yards and see the same train again in about 7 or 8 minutes going the other direction as it's kind of working its way down the mountain. So it's just spectacular scenery in that part of the country, especially in the fall. It's just beautiful.
Right. Yeah, it's just really amazing here. I think I got a slide of a dispatcher we can bring up and show the dispatching panel.
Yeah, I've got a website and a Facebook page too. If people want to go
dubious
look
guy there
Oh,
running
yeah,
trains
we know
into
that
each other.
Yeah, so you can see the schematics, so that makes it a whole lot easier to understand the layout. And I use magnets. That's a little bit older version, but I still have the same concept. I use a panel that's got magnets. Now the magnets that I've got each train on the top of the magnet, so you kind of know what that magnet is instead of trying to remember, okay, what's the green one, what's the blue one. But it's the same concept. You just move the magnet to where you give the train clearance to, and there's 4 main passing sidings, and there's a few other places where the locals work, where they can clear up if they have to, if there's a train trying to get through. But you can see Tom's still wearing a radio there. That was probably about a year ago, maybe. We do have a little bottle there that if we have a wreck, we send out a sample to see if we're gonna ask the guy back. But it's kind of just a little running joke there we do with everybody. But yeah, the radios, like I said, the radios worked fine. But the phone, when I started doing some more research, the phone kind of matched up more with my era, and it gives the layout room a lot quieter atmosphere, and you're not listening to all the other stuff going on. So it works really good.
Yeah, and I hope he is still watching, because you're in a different room. You're actually up in the kitchen. It's quite nice, and you talk to the crews when they come up to get their next train assignment. But by having just a schematic in front of you, as long as people tell you where they are, you can move the trains along very easily. And if they don't tell you, then you put them in a siding and make them pay. But
well, that's the one thing nice
Yeah.
about the phones, because with radios, you can tell a guy something and he'll just go, and he won't call you when he gets there, because theoretically, when you tell him to go, let's say to the south end of Kona, because you're going to meet a train or whatever, if you've got a phone, well, then he's kind of got to call you to get further clearance. If he's got a radio, a lot of times the guys kind of forget because they're busy talking to other people, or they're listening to other conversations, and they kind of get out of the zone a little bit. So the phones work really good. I'm really happy I switched over.
yeah, that was a nice update and stuff. CGC board, right? Yeah, no.
Nope, the magnet in the board works good. I just put down a piece of metal and painted it and put sticky tape on there, and it was real easy to do. And I would suggest that if anybody's trying to get into doing that or setting one up for the first time, that's probably the way to go. And then you can always, make it as difficult or more realistic as you want. But this tends to work really good, and people understand the concept right off the bat, so it works good, especially for new guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think as an operator too, you don't have to wear the headsets. I'm looking at your Facebook page. I'll bring that up here because they can find you.
Yeah, you were
But
wearing
if you
it,
look
but
at the photos,
but you don't
your
need
photos
to
on
have
your
it on there.
Facebook
You could
page
just
are
have it on the table there too and use it as a mic. But so
yeah.
that's anybody's, however they want to do it. But yeah, there's my website, which hasn't been updated in a while. But my Facebook page, I put stuff on there almost every week, a couple times a week. And And then there's an email there too if you want to send me a note, or if you're ever in town and want to come over and check it out, send me an email and set something up.
Yeah.
Probably like a lot of other layout operators, you kind of have that sweet spot. So I can accommodate up to 8. 8 will fill all the spots, but I need a minimum of 5 probably to run it with a dispatcher and a yard master, and that would give me 3 road crews. But normally I do 4 road crews, a yard master at Irwin and a yard master at Bostic, and 1 dispatcher. So 7's a good number, but I can fluctuate, because a lot of times you get at the last minute somebody drops out for whatever reason, or else somebody says, "Hey, I got a buddy. Can I bring a buddy over with?" So then you got that extra slot you can fill with the other spot. So I guess 7's my sweet number, but I can bump it up 1 or knock it down 2 if I need to.
Because your yards here are in the same room, one person could do that.
Yeah, one person could if they kind of. Yeah, one person definitely could if they understand how the whole thing works. But usually I try to, most of the time I do Bostic yard, and I let somebody else do like Irwin, because Irwin's a little bit more complex. There's a little bit more going on there, so it gives them more to do and kind of gives them a little bit more cars to route and stuff and sort. But yeah, one guy could do it if he understands how the layout works and stuff. It's not overwhelming for one guy if he knows what's going on.
Cool.
And you did a lot of painting, you did a lot of scratch building, you did a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, because back in the day they didn't make Clinchfield stuff, so you had to make a lot of it. But a while back, finally, Intermountain made the SD 45-2s, and Atlas made the GP38s, and you can always buy a Cato F unit and paint it. And Intermountain made the F7s a while back. I wish I would have bought more of them at the time, because those are beautiful running engines. Yeah, you can. Well, there's usually four crews working at the most. So you're going to never have 4 trains out on the main line. And you might have the yard guys switching cars. So you might have 6 people, doing something, but there's never more than 4 trains on the main line. And if you've got a pusher crew, that'll be just a light engine coming back from Alta Pass. So I guess you technically could have 7 people running at once, but you're never going to have like really more than 4 trains and maybe a pusher coming back. And the pusher, we don't do all that often. It depends if we have the eighth guy, because I usually try to keep it to 7 people. So, but occasionally we get 8, and then we can fill the pusher spot. So,
yeah. It's not signaled. It's just more of the dispatcher giving you a order, right? A little track warrant. Go from A to B. Clear the main.
Yeah, what I do is I issue what I call a clearance card when you leave the yard. It's probably not a prototypical term for it, but it kind of acts as almost a scratch pad too. It's got your train engines on it, your number of cars, what the caboose number is, and all that stuff. And then you can use it to write down what the instructions are from the dispatcher. So it almost acts as like a Form 19 basically, but it's all on one sheet. And then if you come across anything that needs to get fixed, or if you have an issue with a car or a locomotive or a turnout or something, you can just put a note on that. And then at the end of the session, I go through that stuff and I'll look for stuff that I need to fix or take off the layout or repair. So it helps me keep the layout maintained as well too. If people, write stuff down and let me know about things that need to get addressed. I think most layout owners probably do that. But
Well, thank you for having us over to Railfan. That was fun. Like you said, fun 3 or so hours.
yeah, it was 3 hours of
Jokes
nonstop
and comedy.
laughing and joking, and it was kind of getting tangled in the cords and the lights. It was kind of a fun time. But yeah, so I would recommend you other guys that live in town here to get your layout videotape so we can watch some of your other stuff, other layouts out there.
Yeah.
Most
You
of my
have a 20
trains,
car limit? Yeah.
most of my
What do you got?
trains, the yard will set them up to be like 22 or 24 cars. They could get longer if they make some pickups along the way, but that's usually how they start out. They don't start out longer than 22 or 24 cars when they leave the yard. Obviously, they could be shorter than that, but that would be the maximum length. Just because I want them all to fit in the sidings. I mean, there's a couple times something might get longer occasionally, but generally everything will fit in the sidings without a problem. But then, just like any layout owner, depending on your crew, if it's a veteran crew that's been there a bunch of times, you can, make it so it doesn't fit. So they have a little bit more things they got to think about and, throw a couple of
We got
monkey
a veteran
wrenches in the works.
dispatcher. All right, one last question, and then we're going to sign off. We've been on here for a good hour.
I probably got probably about 250 cars maybe on the layout, in that range, because the coal trains are 24 cars, so I got 4 of those on the layout, and there's 5 merchandise trains, so there's another 100 cars there, so it's probably 250 cars that are on the layout, and there's probably another 50 to 60 cars that I have in shelves under the layout that I can swap on and off. So just to mix things up a bit, so I can swap out cars here and there.
If you want to find Ken online, there's his website, his blogs and everything. Ask him all the questions he's found on Facebook, Twin Cities Division. It's been a great fun. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for videotaping, and look forward to more questions. If anybody has questions, send me a note.
And with that, I think we shall call it a night. So thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe.
All right.
And
Yep.
we'll see you next Wednesday.
Wednesday. Great.